All right, let's wake up to a brand new day. It is 5:59, 57, 58, 59, 6 o'clock. There we go on your Thursday morning. We're glad that you're up with us here on 13 Sunrise. Not tired of telling you about the beautiful day that we're going to have ahead, although you're starting this morning with a taste of fall, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit chilly out there. Yeah. Certainly, you know, what we haven't been used to in the last couple of weeks. So we are getting at least cooler in the mornings and the evenings with the fall weather trying to get here. Just like I can be here overnight and early in the morning, but the afternoons, I got to have summer.
I could see all three of us now next week when the high is like 65.
Yeah.
We're going to be like, oh, remember when it was like 80?
I'm going to try to keep a good attitude. I'm really working on that, Lindsay.
I am too.
I know.
My eye twitching already.
I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel the energy from over there. We've got some changes on the way, but not until next week. So in the meantime, we get to enjoy some of these 80s again, at least through the duration of this weekend. We'll talk more about some incoming much needed rain, as well as how that's going to impact our temperatures, cooling things off a little bit. It's pretty cool out there in some spots. Been watching these numbers drop from Muncie to Richmond up to Portland and Kokomo, hovering right there near that 50-degree mark out there this morning. We dropped off 3 degrees here in the Indy Metro this past hour, now down to 57 from 60, and Shelbyville has now dropped to 53. It's 51 in Crawfordsville. Comparing these numbers to where we were this time yesterday, they're actually all pretty similar, within a degree or two within most locations. So if you had the jacket yesterday, probably going to need it again today. If you didn't need it in the afternoon, which I don't think many of us did, we're once again going to see these temperatures warming up nicely. We'll head to 84, which is exactly where we were yesterday for a high temperature around the Indy Metro, and we're going to be in the mid-80s. Looks like across the board for highs today. Again, those changes, the rain, the cooler air, it's headed our way. We'll talk about the timeline coming up in your full forecast in just a bit. Do want to take you out to the traffic center this morning and get you updated on this big 65 project on the city's south side. We did get an update from NDOT as far as how things are progressing. And this is a look toward the south split, one of those busier stretches of interstate corridor, especially as we get into that peak morning rush coming off of Raymond Street, 65 north. Still looks relatively quiet out there right now, but as we head a little farther south, noticing things are getting a little busier here. We do know that there's a newly constructed ramp off of Keystone Avenue to 65 north, so that's some new fresh pavement for you as this project continues. They also did some beam setting over I-65 at Hannah Avenue, so that bridge project continues to progress. Making our way slowly but surely. Right now, no major delays on that stretch of 65, which is good news, but we'll keep an eye out for you, let you know if we do see any bigger delays develop.
Well, this morning, police say they are looking into a fatal crash that happened in Marion County overnight.
And the southbound lanes of 465 near the East 71st Street exit. Let's show you the scene moments after this happened, and the backup came along with it. We've learned that one person died and there were multiple vehicles involved here.
Now, we still don't know what caused the crash, according to police, but roads were closed down for over an hour. But again, hopefully things back up and running as normal there this morning.
This is something else that had some issues on the roadways overnight. A chase that started in Indianapolis and ended in a deadly crash in Johnson County. Metro Police have not said where in Indianapolis the chase started or why they were even going after this driver, but we know it ended in a single vehicle crash on I-65 near the Indiana 44 exit in Franklin. It was the driver that died at the scene.
Well, Hamilton County residents, well, you need to get your patience in order and get ready for another major traffic construction project.
You're ready to just leave a little bit earlier and expect some issues. The first phase of Level Up 31 will start in just a few days. Anna Chalker is joining us live with this project and what it'll look like when you hit the road Monday. The idea here is to not have issues at some point, right, Anna?
That's right, ladies. And if you know anything about US 31 in Hamilton County as you're leaving Indianapolis, it is one of the busiest highways. Julia, you were talking about this. You drive this every day, so I want you to pay attention to this. So we actually moved closer to 31 so you can get a better look because we know it's dark. It's going to be hard to see. But like we said, it's quiet right now. That's a first. That's never happened on 31, but it's pretty busy most of the time. So all of this will start on Monday. So we wanted to give you a few days to prepare for all of this going on. So this is what you'll see with phase one. So southbound US 31 ramp to 106th Street, eastbound 106th Street to 31, and the eastbound 465 ramp to southbound Meridian Street. They will all close Monday through the rest of the year. This project will be split into 4 phases, with crews planning on finishing all of this by 2027. And NDOT says this project will address capacity and safety needs for the thousands of drivers that use this area.
A lot of people in Hamilton County work in Indianapolis, and getting there isn't necessarily a problem right now. It's the getting home and heading north from 465 north on 31 is the problem right now.
NDOT's biggest piece of advice through this: when you hit this area Monday, if you've got to drive through, slow down, watch for the new workers that are going to be here, and be prepared for new traffic patterns. And back here live at 465-31 interchange this morning, we're getting you ready. There are cones out. There are also signs out letting you know this is all going to close on Monday. And you may be wondering, why on earth do we have to close down parts of 31 when we've got other closures, especially here on the north side of Indianapolis? Well, a big reason is the growth of population in Hamilton County. So coming up, we'll dive into those numbers of why NDOT is deciding to do this project now instead of holding it off when you may think we need to get some other projects done.
And I know that we complain about having, things that inconvenience us, but it sounds like it's much needed.
Yeah, it is. Trust me. Well, a mother charged in the death of her 2-year-old son was just denied unsupervised contact with her daughter.
Investigators say Kiara Bickett's son died in June after he shot himself with her gun. She was charged with neglect in August, and she's now allowed supervised contact with her other 9-year-old daughter.
But the judge denied the request for unsupervised visits because the girl is a witness in this case. Bickett is expected back in court next month.
Well, Johnson County Coroner Mike Pruitt returned to the office yesterday while state police investigate allegations that he stalked a 17-year-old girl.
But his return, although it was helpful, prompted a mass exit by his staff. 5 deputy coroners quit, including the former chief deputy coroner, Derek Wilson. Now, Wilson says he ran the coroner's office while Pruitt was on a leave of absence for the month of September.
Wilson called his now resignation a, quote, difficult yet necessary decision. Another deputy coroner, Lydia Griffiths, wrote in her resignation that she, quote, cannot ethically continue working in the office.
It is important to know Pruitt is not currently charged with any crime in this case. He did release a statement of his own saying that it is disappointing to receive the resignations. He went on to say, I understand that each individual must make the decision that is best for them. Pruitt says his office still has 8 deputy coroners, 1 full-time administrative deputy coroner, and himself. You can read his statement in full and the statements from former deputies right now at WTHR.com.
Some new details to share this morning about the state's plans to house ICE detainees at an Indiana state prison. Officials with the Indiana Department of Corrections confirm that the Miami Correctional Facility received 15 detainees just yesterday. DOC says that it could house as many as 100 by the end of this week. Governor Mike Braun had this to say when he was asked about recent gatherings by faith leaders that are against the plans to house detainees.
When it comes down to the humanity of dealing with anyone that has issues, especially as it relates to asylum, that would cross almost all faith, that you need to help. That doesn't mean you have open borders. That doesn't mean you don't hold accountable folks that game the system. It'd be that simple.
The state plans to charge the federal government $291 a day for each detainee that it holds. Well, a century-old abandoned church in Indianapolis will not be torn down. Now, this updated decision comes from the city's Preservation Commission just last night. We're talking about Holy Cross Catholic Church. It closed about 10 years ago, and today it's fenced off and boarded up and deemed unsafe to even go in. But parish leaders at St. Philip Neri say they've spent about $80,000 in just the last year alone to keep that site secure. But neighbors say the church is more than just a building and that demolition is not the only answer.
It is the memories of those who grew up within its walls. It is the soul and symbol of the neighborhood that surrounds it and which bears its name.
This is a continued infringement on St. Philip Neri Parish's religious liberty, and we don't think the city should insert itself in a church's prayerful discernment about how to steward its own property.
Well, St. Philip Neri leaders say restoring the church could cost as much as $8.5 million, and they say the property is worth about $1 million.
We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now, we have the worst leadership in the world.
It's a statement that's been heard around the nation now. In 4 minutes, Minnesota Lynx star Nafisa Collier did not hold back about WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert.
So the key issue here is the league's leadership, as you heard her say, officiating, but also the culture. It's the collective bargaining agreement that is also becoming part of the problem.
Yeah, so the league and its players have until October 31st now to settle a new contract. Collier is on the executive committee for the W's Players Association.
And players want really a bigger share of the revenue. You remember these shirts? Caitlin Clark, one of the players that was wearing those there in one of the games, the All-Star game that was here in Indianapolis. They wore those during warm-up. They said, "Pay us what you owe us."
Even holding up signs saying pay the players. Fever guard Lexi Hull says that she agrees that major changes are needed.
Reffing needs to change. Leadership needs to change. I think, our league is at a spot that it hasn't been in the past 10 years. Like, we're growing exponentially and we need change to mirror that.
The league can't set any dates for expansion drafts, though, until a new CBA is reached.
And if there is no agreement, players could choose to strike. In its almost 30-year history, the WNBA has never lost games because of a work stoppage. And we do have an update on Fever guard Kelsey Mitchell after a scary incident on the court during Game 5 in Vegas Tuesday night. She's now out of the hospital and expected to make a full recovery.
And the team issued a statement yesterday saying that she experienced some extreme cramping in her lower body during the third quarter of that game. But again, we've got an update. We know that she is recovering out of the hospital this morning, and we should learn more about the team and their future soon. Your time is 6:12. We'll be right back. Hey, Marina.
Good morning. We are at Conner Prairie for their Headless Horseman Festival. I'm going to show you all the fun things they have planned and even introduce you to a new friend I just made.